energy. Yeah, energized or low energy. It's really going to affect your life which way you are. And a lot of the time people aren't even aware, not even aware of how important this is in their life and how much of an effect it's having. And when I talk about energy, I don't generally talk, and I'm a pretty high energy person myself, I don't generally mean, the energy to go to the top of a hill, or the energy to run up a mountain. Really what I'm talking about is energy for life. And one of the things that we don't realize is this is our life. It's happening now. It's not a dress rehearsal. We don't get another go at it. We can't say, look, I do it differently the next time. Like, it's happening now. So it's important that we get it right, that you actually have the energy you need to manifest the life that you want to have. And the weird thing about energy is you actually get energy from expending energy. And you'll probably have some familiarity with this. The people who rest the most are not usually the most energetic, are they? They're certainly not in my experience. But how energy relates back, energy, effort, commitment. A guy called Andrew Carnegie, his parents were Scottish. He was born in Scotland, and they were crofters, if I remember. And they moved to America. And this guy was, they had nothing. And he went on to become the richest man in the world. And there's people argue the richest man the world's ever seen. He was so rich it wasn't funny. And, he gave back so much. He was a good guy, the Carnegie Hall, but all the way through to so many local libraries and things like this. He had a real... He had a real part of him of wanting to give back. And this was at a time maybe philanthropy wasn't as, current as it is now. But he really was one of the first people to kind of start this. He wanted to do good. But he also had a bit of an obsession. And his obsession was with this. How come he arrived in a country with no education and no particular ability and an accent and all the rest of it? And he went on to become this incredible success by any measure. And he started to look at other people who'd done something similar to himself, and he found an awful lot of the most successful people in the America of the day were people with similar backgrounds, and he became kind of obsessed with it. And what he did was he got a guy called Napoleon Hill, and he gave him a letter, and he said, go to all these other successful people with this as a way of introduction. And on the basis of this, you'll be able to write a book about this, analyze what it is, what are the commonalities between these people that allows people who, theoretically should not be able to do this when other people have so many more advantages who don't do it. What is it that separates them? What makes them different? What's the difference that makes the difference? And Napoleon Hill wrote a book called Think and Grow Rich. And, a lot of people will say it was one of the first, that was the start of the sort of self-help, positive thinking sort of movement. But Carnegie's assessment from this was one of energy and ability. He talked about energy and ability. And he said the average or ordinary man commits 25% of his talent, energy, and ability to whatever he does in his life. Now, in the language of the day, he said, the world will take its hat off for the man who will apply 50% of their talent, energy, and ability. And the world will do a headstand for those very few who give 100%. And I think it's probably very true. And you probably know yourself that for an awful lot of things that we do, we don't really put 100% of ourselves into them. And obviously I work in the weight loss area, and the amount of people who will tell me that, when I say, are you getting to 100%? They go, well, I'm getting to this. And I'm going, if your life depended on it, could you do better? And they go, oh yeah, if my life depended on it. And the sad truth is our lives do depend on it. And certainly the quality of our lives depend on it. Now, an interesting story I heard many years ago about this was two builders. There's Sean and there's Mick. And Mick has worked for Sean for many years. And he's a master builder, a craftsman. And he's the best builder that Mick has ever had. And he's worked there years and years and years. But he comes along and he says, Mick, I want to retire. I'm done. I've had enough of the building. I want to give it up. So Sean says, okay, Mick, if you're sure. And he says, no, I am. And he goes away. But after a month, Sean comes back to Mick and he says, Mick, will you build me one more house? Will you build me one more house? And Mick says, okay, I'll build you one more house. And he goes in, but his heart isn't in it, and he cuts corners. And the whole way through it, he's finding easier ways and half doing the job, the whole thing. You know yourself, you've been there. And at the end of it, when he comes out, who's standing outside? Only, I can't remember which names I was using now. The names are unimportant. We say it was Sean, and he says to Mick, Mick, I'm so happy with all the work you did for so many years. This house is yours. And Mick has to live for the rest of his life in a poorly built, corner-cut house. And that's what we all can do to ourselves, you know, and we're all worth more than that. We're all worth more than that. And the way we go around doing that is I always tell people, I always try to get people to get their energy out, to get people committed. And the only way I know that you can do that is one day at a time. That's it. Can you get to 100% just for today? Forget tomorrow. We don't know what, no commitment even for what I'll do tomorrow. Yesterday doesn't matter. It's gone. We can't change it. When people start to do that, you know, they rock their world. They have energy in their life. We start to enjoy what we're doing. And headstands are optional. You don't have to do the headstands. We don't need to do that. But let me tell you this, you know, you will rock your world if you can start to do that. Stay energized. Great way to be. Talk to you soon.